Now we want to move on to looking at another type of chart that can help us display categorical data. It's called a bar chart. A bar chart is set up by using one bar for each response. So in example 7, people were asked if they have ever traveled internationally. There are two different responses, yes or no. And so basically we just stack that bar a little bit taller every time somebody replies yes or everybody replies no. Bar charts are very nice for comparing the heights of those different bars versus, we talked about, pie pieces can get to be very small and hard to compare if there's too many of them. It's usually generally easier to compare the heights of bars, so it can be a preferable way to display categorical data. But it does have a problem in that it can be hard to tell the exact heights of the bars if those results aren't provided. So for instance, in this case, there were 314 people who responded yes. It would be hard to identify that number exactly just by looking at the chart, but we can see that it's over 300. And we can see that a little under 200 people replied no, but we couldn't see as clearly that exactly 195 people replied no. So we can supplement the bar chart with that additional information to provide that clarity. And then similar to a pie chart, if we have more than more than two possible responses, we add additional bars to represent those additional responses. So in part, example A, rather than asking people if they've traveled internationally, we ask people if they would most prefer to travel to South America, Europe, Africa, or Asia. Since we have 4 different responses, we have 4 different bars, where again the height of the bar reflects how many people replied with that answer. Looking at the graph, we can only kind of tell that a little over 100 people replied South America, well under 100 people replied Europe, but we can't see those exact numbers. But we can make a pretty easy visual comparison between the different groups to see which one received the most replies, which one received the least replies, and make the distinctions between those values in between. So what we would want to do, or hopefully we would have provided, would be the heights of those bars, the counts for those different categories, so that we would be able to be even more precise with any discussions or questions that we want to answer regarding that information.